Alright guys, well I'm back with an overview of a watch that I've wanted to add to the collection ever since I saw it released. This is the Tudor Pelagos FXD, and I'm super glad I ended up getting this. I had been looking at it for a while, but I was a little bit worried because this does have fixed lugs, and I was worried about the bulkiness of the strap, not only running under the bottom of a watch like this, but wrapping around those lugs and fitting correctly on my wrist. I already own a Tudor Pelagos in black, one of the older versions with that same 42mm case size, and it's definitely pushing the limits of what I can wear on my wrist, but it wears so comfortably and nice, and I really like the look of the new FXD. I figured I would give it a shot. I ended up finding this particular one on Joma Shop used for about $1,300 off retail, so I figured I would give it a try, and man am I glad I did. Again, this has been on the list for a while. Some things that drew me to the FXD was I like the looks of it a little bit better than the Pelagos with the bezel. I also like the fact that it had no date complications, so it's super easy to set, grab, and go if the power reserve runs out. And I love the fact that it's going to be a lot more durable without those spring bars, and the fact that it's got those fixed lugs for an everyday watch or to use in hard use scenarios. So I checked off a lot of boxes for me. I also already had a black Tudor Pelagos and wanted to grab something in blue but didn't want to duplicate, so this gives me the look and feel of a Pelagos, a little bit better durability, and again, I love Tudor watches in general. Now this is pretty slick because it debuted a little while ago and it's had time to kind of go out into the world, prove itself a little bit, and give you guys a lot of information on the web from a bunch of different users besides me. This is going to be my personal opinion on this watch. We're going to be discussing the specs and overview of this watch, but I highly recommend you watch some other reviewers because they're going to be able to dig a little bit deeper into their experiences with this versus some other top tier watches. Now, the cool thing about this watch as well is the fact that it comes with a 5-year transferable guarantee with no registration. So when I bought this from Joma Shop, I knew it had a little bit life left on it because of the date that the watch that I was receiving. So that gives you that added confidence when you're purchasing a Tudor. Now, in fact, I've actually used Tudor service on the other Pelagos and everything worked great. It was priced fairly, although it did take a little bit long, which is my only complaint about the service department with Tudor. But once the watch came back, it was in perfect working order. They had fixed the bezel issue that it had. One of the lume pips fell out on the older Pelagos line. It seemed to be fairly common. The new line seemed to have resolved this issue, but it was nice to try out their warranty service, and it ended up going pretty good. One thing to note about Joma Shop is they actually helped me out with that issue. I love purchasing from them, and they've actually been great to buy from. Now, I'm no affiliation with Joma Shop. I probably should see if they have an affiliate program, though, because I am always recommending them. Back into the watch, the case size in this guy is 42mm in diameter, and it's made out of titanium. If Tudor somehow made this watch out of stainless steel, you're going to save 30% using titanium over stainless for the same size, so it's definitely going to be a well-built watch, but a little bit lighter weight feel than corresponding 42mm watches. Now, it does measure in at 12.75 millimeters thick, but you have to remember, since this is the fixed lug version, you will have to run your strap underneath the watch, adding some thickness to it. I thought that may be an issue on my 7.5-inch wrist, but it really wasn't. I'm going to put it on my wrist real quick off camera and show you guys what I'm talking about. Now, it does have a 52mm lug-to-lug diameter, or a lug-to-lug measurement, and the entire case is going to be a brushed finish. Now, the case finishing is absolutely spectacular on this watch. No issues whatsoever. I love the combination between the finishing and kind of that matte feel of the dial and bezel, so it pushes a perfect kind of tool style feel to this watch. The lug width on this guy is going to be 22mm, so if you are buying some replacement straps like I personally did for this watch, you will have to buy those 22mm, and they're going to fit pretty good. Now, for me, this only came with the rubber strap since I purchased this used. So I bought this canvas strap that it generally comes with. Now, this is an off-brand strap, but it worked out perfectly. They're going to come with that woven strap and rubber strap if you're buying it new. I personally like the canvas just a little bit better. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you have one of these, what straps you're running. I'd love to expand the horizons over than just what comes with the watch. Now, the movement on this guy is an in-house caliber MT5602, and that's cost certified with a 70-hour power reserve. I mean, that's absolutely great. I've set this watch down, picked it up in a couple days, and it just keeps working, and I love that about this watch. Some guys are going to be frustrated that it doesn't have a date complication. I love that. I love picking up a watch that I've let sit for over a week just to set it and go very quickly without worrying about getting that date in check because your OCD is going to bug you all day. So this is a nice kind of grab and go watch, especially with that Velcro strap, super easy to put on. The waterproof rating on this guy is going to be 200 meters or 660 feet. Definitely a perfectly capable dive watch. Now, the bezel on this is pretty interesting. It's actually a unidirectional rotating bezel rather than a one-way. So you can rotate that both ways to time a lot of things. Now, for me, since I'm not an actual diver and I'm not relying on this for monitoring the time left on my oxygen tank when I'm under the ocean, I love the fact that it goes back and forth because sometimes it may get bumped, move, and again, the OCD will kick in and you'll want to line everything back up. Now, speaking of lining everything back up, they have this on point. Everything lines up perfectly. The applied indices are absolutely awesome. I love the way the snowflake hands pair with those indices and that very nice minute track. I mean, there's something to be said about Tudor watches that are truly competing with top tier watches across the board, but at a fraction of the price of some of their other competitors. Now, don't get me wrong, these are not cheap by any means, but what you're getting with their in-house caliber, the reputation of Tudor, and the fit and finish on their watches is really second to none anywhere in this price category, in my humble opinion. Feel free to argue with me in the description below. This is a sapphire crystal, and overall, it's got good anti-reflective coating. It's incredibly legible, and that's why another reason why I love this watch. On top of that, the lume on this watch is absolutely spectacular. I've never had an issue with this watch being able to identify the time, day or night, because of the lume and because of the legibility of this watch. In summary, I've fallen in love with it. One of the reasons why I purchased this is a standard for the channel because I've been reviewing a lot of watches lately. I wanted to have a top tier premium watch to review some of the other high value and budget versions. And if you like this watch, but you haven't quite saved up enough yet like I did, it took me a while to get to this point. But if you were like me a year or two ago, I was looking for Tudor Pelagos alternatives. I actually have a video dedicated to some of those that you may find interesting, so you'll want to check out the channel, subscribe, and watch some of those videos. If you're interested in more watch reviews, I'd love to hear about that in the comment section below, and what watch do you want me to check out next? Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.